time once again to go racing.
It does not get any better than this.
The pressure is really on now.
Yes, it's pole position. Lights out and we're racing in PSGL.
The first lap has been absolute chaos.
What an overtake! Oh no!
I've never seen anything like it.
Side by side again. This will be settled right at the end.
Good evening then everyone, and welcome back along to more PSGL action here on the PSGL YouTube page. And today we are going to be starting round 2 of the F3 Championship for season 30 of the PSGL around the Silverstone circuit. My name is, as always, Paul Sidetwixt Buckley. I'll be bringing you all the action this evening from around the Northamptonshire circuit, as we, I believe, are about to head straight into qualifying as I speak. So we're right to it this evening, but quickly before we do, let's give you a quick rundown of the calendar once more. As we are heading into round 2, of course, this evening, the Silverstone circuit. Calendar should come up briefly in a moment, and we can run through, in case you missed last week, what the rest of the calendar will look like. We, of course, raced our first race in season 30 last time out in Portimao. And there we are. To this evening, we are here for round 2 around the Silverstone circuit in Great Britain. Monaco comes up next week. Then we've got France, Hungary, Austria, Saudi Arabia, Belgium, Netherlands. So many great circuits to head to before we round out the season at round 15 in Bahrain in May. Plenty of action coming up across plenty of weeks then, and we'll do a quick run through of this evening's circuit. Of course, it is the British GP circuit, 5.891 kilometres, 18 corners, 9 to the left, 9 to the right, 2 DRS zones as we make our way around this former RAF bomber station with plenty of very famous corners upon it. Of course, you've got the likes of the Maggots and Beckett's complex, Stowe, Club, Vale, you name a corner on this circuit and somebody's going to have a moment in their memory that they do think of when they think of Silverstone. Now, let's just have a look. I believe we are in qualifying, and we are indeed. So let's get straight to it then as we head into qualifying for this evening's race around Silverstone. Of course, 20 drivers once again on the grid as we do get the first of those drivers heading on to the circuit. Red Bull driver Jake Finch, of course, one of those first drivers missed last week. Well, you missed a hell of a race with the alternate strategy almost coming into it in the hands of Harlan Marquis last week before an unfortunate tangle in the closing laps forced him to retire from that race. And in fact brought out the safety car that led to a lot of the action right towards the end, with Carter Lundy staying out on the older medium tyre trying to fend off a rampaging Paul Eckelmeyer towards the end of the race, but he couldn't quite manage it, had to settle for P2. And Eckelmeyer took the win last time out after being on pole. Last time out race winner in the Aston Martin once again then. Everybody out on their outlaps right now. Let's bring up all the details for everyone as... That's the wrong button. If we take a look at the tyres, everybody pretty much going straight out onto that soft tyre as we begin this qualifying session. A couple of drivers going out on the medium. In fact, just one going out on the medium at the moment. Bryn is sat in the pits on the medium tyre. Whether he'll come out on that tyre is a different question. Kreisig, though, is out on the medium tyre as there is a little bit of jostling for track position going on. Carter Lundy and by the looks of things, and is on an out lap at the moment. We do have the other Red Bull, I believe was Jake Finch, is out on the first lap of the session then, and of course a purple Sector 1 coming in as we head into Brooklands. And This will be, I believe, one of the first laps we do see this evening. Down towards Copse we go then. Flat in these cars, so you have to be careful with the track limits on the outside of Copse. It is very easy for these cars to wander. You could find yourself picking up lap invalidations there if you're not careful. A little bit of understeer there coming through Beckett's. That will have cost him some time on this lap. Of course, it does still show as purple for the time being, as he looks like he is now about to hit some traffic as well. A good gaggle of cars up in front of him are, after he comes through Stowe, down towards the Vale chicane, getting nicely out of the way. Parting the waves a little bit as we head through Vale and into Club, and that traffic not really way too much. The banker lap is on the board then for Jake Fincher, 1:26.230 of the session, as driver now is out there on the track in one place or another. The only lap to be set so far. Who else is out there on a lap at the moment? It does look like we might have Mercedes. No, that Mercedes is just starting a lap of Codigolo, in fact. Getting a little bit more yellow flag shenanigans. I do apologise for the stuttering at the moment. I will take a look at that in between the sessions to see if we can fix that. But for now, everything seems to be going okay. Carter Lundy going to the top of the timing screens then in the McLaren. 1:26.0. We saw very, very quick pace from Carter Lundy last time out in Portimao, and once again setting the bar here in Silverstone right off the bat. But immediately, the one rival from last week, Paul Eckelmeyer, last week's pole sitter, last week's race winner, pipping him by 2/1000ths of a second to that P1 at the moment, provisional pole position, of course. As this is just short qualifying as opposed to the full qualifying that you would normally see. So it is just a single 18-minute session for these drivers to go out and pump in the fastest laps that they absolutely can. At the moment, Paul Eckelmeyer sits on top of the pile. We take a look a little bit further down the field. The Williams of Seung Chan Lim heading into Stowe for the first time as Alvaro goes fastest of all. 1:26.066. The time's already starting to tumble, and that is a great lap from Alvaro, jumping both of the two drivers that were right at the top of the pile last week. Him going into P12 with that effort ahead of Jay Verhage. So 14 drivers so far in this session, with 6 left to cross the line with a valid lap time, as Harlan Marquis, currently sitting at the back of those drivers, is on an in-lap at the moment, it would appear. Teammates, Joshua Pina, yet to set a lap time as well. Last lap was a 1:26.7, which would have been around about where his teammate managed. However, that lap was invalid, so no valid lap on the board as of yet, while everybody goes and gets some heat in those tyres. Bear with me for 2 moments. I will see about trying to deal with this stuttering issue for the time being. We did have a couple of issues last week, should I say. It looks like those issues are fixed, and we have acquired a couple of slightly less annoying new ones. So apologies once again for the interruption to the qualification. Fingers crossed we can get that dealt with as soon as possible. Bring the action without any further interruptions. Of course, there was a patch to the game not too long ago, and that does appear to have fixed a few of the problems that we had. So, touch wood, we will be solid for the evening as we take a look back with Joshua Pina now, who has just invalidated another lap at Stowe and does dive straight into the pits. Not many drivers out there at the moment. Bryn is out there, and he did go out on the soft tyres, and is currently on for his first flying lap of the session, or possibly second flying lap of the session. That first one wasn't really a flying lap. A 1:38.5 looked like he took an extra lap to get some heat into the tyres on his first go around. And in fact, he's diving into the pits, so perhaps it was a mistake on that first lap that did cost him some time. So, running through the order then, as every driver is either on their way in or back out of the pits. Currently, Alvaro sits on provisional pole position with a 1:26.0, with very, very close behind him Paul Eckelmeyer and Carter Lundy on 1:26.09s. 1,000 separating those two. Cadorn N'Golo sits in a 1:26.2 down in P4 at the minute, and this man Jake Finch, also on a 1:26.2, is in 5th. 6th and 7th, also on a 1:26.2. It's so tight at the moment between the times. If you just look at that, 1,000 separating a few drivers, less than 100th of a second separating 3 positions on the grid right now. Jake Finch, Marcus Tholle in Milan, all very, very, very close together. Before it's another 2/10 back to Christian Hausmann, and then Tuomas Laminen rounds out the top 10. Then you've got Leonard, Jung-Chan Lim, Jay Vagi, Harlan Marquis and Bryn are the other drivers to set a time right now. As we take a look at Jake Finch, and let's ride on board with the Red Bull driver as we make our way through, and not onto a lap as of yet. It was about to be a lap, but just a little bit wide through Aui has led to that lap being invalidated, and Jake Finch will not go for this one. Christian Hausmann will though. Let's pick up with him as we head through the loop and out onto the Wellington straight down towards Brooklands, then opening the taps of that McLaren, climbing through the gears. He does have some traffic in front of him, but we've seen all the drivers pretty well behaved when it comes to traffic so far. Hard on the brakes then. Which of the lines does he take? He goes a little bit out wide. There are, of course, 2 lines, if you're not fully aware of how drivers prefer to take Luffield. That was, in fact, a collision there between Hausmann. We did just see he has picked up a penalty for that. I'm not quite sure what was going on, but he has backed out of the lap. As Jake Finch is also, of course, not currently on a lap. Laminen is on a lap in the Haas then, as we are now about to get onto the Wellington straight with the Haas driver. As every driver once again out on circuit. Down we go into the left-hander then at Brooklands, into the right-hander at Luffield again. The driver taking a bit more of a solid line through there, almost with a double apex as well. And then we come to what has become one of the more infamous corners on the circuit, thanks to the most recent Formula 1 season, Cops, and into what you will find, if you ask a lot of drivers, one of the most fun sections of circuit on the calendar, the Maggots-Beckett's complex. It's one of my favourite section of corners on the calendar, with the way the track sweeps to the left and then sweeps to the right. It is purple in that middle sector though for Laminen, so it is a blisteringly fast lap at the moment for the Haas driver. Up towards Stowe we go then. Drifting out wide and then pulling back across to the right hand side of the circuit for the final 2 corners, down into the chicane at Vale, and then just club to go on the power. Try keep the back end in check and out to the side of the circuit, and it's up to P7 for Laminen then, with that very fast sector 2. As we take a look, Carter Lundy has retaken provisional pole position from Alvaro while all this was going on, with a 1:25.9, the first driver into the 1:25s this evening then. And Milan has also displaced Paul Eckelmeyer with another 1:26.0, time at 0.84. Morgan Ball going even faster than Carter Lundy as the times begin to tumble. A 1:25.8 for the Red Bull driver is fastest of anyone so far. Cadorn N'Golo is also out there, but that is an invalidated lap. Marcus Tholle is on a lap as well. It looks like he is taking an extra warm-up lap by the looks of the speed there. We'll keep an eye and see if he does dive into the pits on this lap, or if he goes for it. He does in fact dive into the pits, so in comes Marcus Tholle from 9th then. Christian Sandell currently out there on the medium tyre, sitting down in 16th with a 1:26.7. What can the Alpine do on that medium tyre? How high can he climb? It's been very, very close. All the drivers on the soft tyres at the moment. Can he get those mediums up to temperature and get enough pace out of those for it to make a difference in this qualifying session? The only driver at the moment on the medium tyres. And making our way down through Woodcut and out towards... Yeah, there's not... I was about to say it looked like he backed out of that as he was coming through Woodcut. He had indeed backed out of that for the Red Bull, which I believe was not Morgan Ball. It was, in fact, his teammate Jake Finch coming through on what is a cool-down lap. Ecclemire still out there on a cool-down lap as well. So once again, reach that part of the session where all the drivers make their way back around and come back in for another fresh set of tyres before one final blast at the end of the session. Just the one driver out there at the moment on an out lap. That is Angel Arias, who is warming up those soft tyres ahead of what will be their first full qualifying lap of the session, I believe. Seen a time put in from them just yet, so we'll be hoping to get a solid, clean lap in, make their name on the board. But once again, Morgan Ball currently sitting on provisional pole with a 125.887. Ecclemire did improve past Carter Lundy once more up into P2 and a 125.895. Carter Lundy being relegated down to P3 with that 125.9. Just the three drivers on the sub 126s so far before we drop back to Alvaro and Milan, separated by just 100th second. 126 zeros, and then another just under 10th of a second back to Jake Finch in 6th, and then it gets very, very close. Gudon N'Golo 126.2, Leonard 126.2, Marcus Thorler 126.2, Thomas Laminin 1/1000th of a second behind Thorler 126.2. That midfield is very, very spicy this evening, so close on times, and we haven't even talked about one thing that could get even spicier this evening. Of course, if you were tuned into the F1 broadcast last night, you'll have seen the weather playing an effect on that race. And it's no guarantee, but of course, being Britain, the weather could also play an effect around here tonight as well. So that could really throw a spanner in the works, as Angel Arias now makes his way onto the Wellington straight down toward Brooklands for what will be the first valid lap time as of right now. Ferrari drivers got clean air ahead of them. What can they do? Where can they get on the grid? As basically every driver now coming out for their final qualifying laps of the session. Through Copse we go with the Ferrari then. Unlucky number 13 on the nose. Is it going to be unlucky for Angel Arias? We'll have to wait and see as we make our way through the Maggots-Beckett's complex. Car glued down with the amount of downforce these 2021 machines have, coming through Chapel and on to the hangar straight then. But it is an invalidated lap time. Little bit wide on the exit of Beckett's and into Chapel, and that is an invalid lap, unfortunately, for Angel Arias. So that number 13 may well be proving to be unlucky, and in fact diving into the pits. So I believe that will be qualifying over for Angel Arias. Not going to be able to get back out again, I believe, as the large train of cars, there it is, qualifying over for the Ferrari driver. And now the long train of cars making their way around for one final lap, headed up by our current provisional pole sitter Morgan Ball. Can he improve? Can he fend off the charging Ecclemire and Carter Lundy behind? Can Alvaro pull out another great lap as well, currently down in P4? Or are we going to see a different driver altogether come up with a stonking lap time? Just a few minutes of the session left, don't go anywhere, you might miss it. Morgan Ball now will ride on board with the current provisional pole sitter, coming through the loop for one final time in the qualifying session. Jorge Alvarola calling it quits on this session as well. 14th will be the highest that they can start. We head with the Red Bull driver now down into Brooklands and Luffield. Out and then back in for the double apex and hard on the power. Heading through Woodcut. No invalidations just yet. It's all looking very clean for the Red Bull driver at the moment. Through Copse, no doubts in my mind at all that he's flat through here. Just a little bit of speed scrubbing off from the lateral force as we head into the Maggots-Beckett's complex. Then you can see just only shifting down halfway through the complex, just absolutely glued to the floor. Through Chapel we go, and already we're making our way through the lap. You can see the fuel light blinking, a purple middle sector for Morgan Ball. He is improving on this lap. We go down the hill then, into the Vale chicane. What can Morgan Ball do? Can he improve that 125.8 and help solidify the pole position? A little bit squiggly on the exit of Vale chicane through Club, shortening the lap time. 125.864 for Morgan Ball. And Eckelmeyer 125.8, but Carter Lundy 125.786. The times came thick and fast, and Carter Lundy takes the pole position for the time being. Then Alvaro is currently out on a lap and is improving. Can Alvaro pip Carter Lundy now as we head around the final corner across the line? He can't. It's P4 for Alvaro then, and there's not many drivers left out. Milan is on an invalidated lap. Cadorningolo has just been pipped, in fact, by Laminen and Cadorningolo 126.205, almost exactly the same time as he had before. But with that, is basically qualifying over. What can the likes of Harlan Marquise do? That's an invalidated time from him. Pienaar, his teammate, is heading into the pits as well. So that is qualifying over, and Carter Lundy takes pole position at Silverstone. Morgan Ball alongside him on the front row. Eckelmeyer, Alvaro and Houseman rounding out the top 5. And what a final lap from Lundy to take the pole position, as everybody just makes their way around. And the cool-down lap, the session comes to a close. Lundy will line up in pole for the race here in Great Britain. And we saw the battle last time out between Lundy and Eckelmeyer coming to a head right at the very end of the race before that late safety car really threw a spanner into the works of Carter Lundy, really. After redemption this week, it would seem. That is the session over then. Qualifying done here in Silverstone. The race will be coming up very, very shortly indeed. And this man lines up on pole. Confirmation of the results then. Carter Lundy on pole position with Morgan Ball lining up in P2. Eckelmeyer and Alvaro taking up the second row of the grid. The second McLaren of Houseman lines up alongside Jake Finch. Though Houseman does have that 5-place penalty for the contact we saw a little earlier on, will relegate him down to P10. Milan finishing the session in 7th with Sendel alongside in 8th. Laminen and Cadorningolo rounding out the top 10. Of course, they will all jump forward one position with Houseman's grid penalty. Leonard qualifies 11th alongside Marcus Thorler in the AlphaTauri with Jay Verhage and Harlan Marquise, the alternate strategy star of last week, lining up in P14. Shungchan Lim with Bryn alongside, and we will cover the remainder of top 10 in just a moment. But that was qualifying out of the way then. We wait for the race session to begin here in Silverstone. Let us know in chat who you think's going to win this one. Are we going to see Lundy run away with it, or can Eckelmeyer make it 2 in a row here at Silverstone? Of course, 50% race. We've got plenty of laps of action coming up. The sky looking a bit grey, but it doesn't look like it's raining just yet here in the Northamptonshire countryside. Never rule it out around the Great Britain track, of course. Rain could come at any moment. We saw that much yesterday out in the F1. Crazy race, of course, if you did catch it in the F1 last night. And I'm wondering if we may end up with some more crazy shenanigans going on this evening. We've already got a very, very competitive grid lining up, ready to go in what will now be less than 30 seconds for the formation lap. So Lundy on pole, Ball P2 and Eckelmeyer P3, Alvaro P4. That's the front 2 rows of the grid. Those will be the cars to watch at the very start of the race. Saw Lundy have a great start out last time out in Portimao. with Ecclemire ultimately taking that race win thanks to the late safety car. We get ready for the formation lap then. We'll flick back to the in-game camera, ready to go here in PSGL F3. Out on the formation lap we go then. Lundy leads them away. And there you can see the rest of the grid. Shungchan Lim with Bryn in 16th. Jorge Albarola with Pina alongside him. And Kryzix and Angel Arias rounding out the grid. In the Ferrari, of course, Angel Arias couldn't quite get to grips with the track limits in that session. And couldn't post a valid lap time before the session ended. So we're not really sure on the pace of a lot of those drivers towards the back. In fact, we're struggling a little bit with track limits in qualifying. They could be ones to watch as well. If they've got the pace, they could be making some moves at the early part of the race then. On the formation lap we go then with Cartolundi heading towards Copse Corner, coming through Woodcut just now. Half a lap to go to get some heat into the tyres. Psych out your opponents and be ready for the start of round 2. There is the predicted pit stop strategy. Softs to mediums or softs to hard, either or. Looks like you're coming in at around about lap 10 to 12. And we will confirm the tyres. There we go. That is the tyres. Everyone is starting the race on. So everybody in the top 10 starting, of course, on those soft tyres. Almost everyone in the back 10 starting on the mediums. The one exception, Jorge Albarola in the Mercedes, is going to be starting on the softs. We'll be making an early charge and trying to clear as many of those medium runners as humanly possible. As you see, all the drivers weaving around in the background, trying to get the heat into the tyres. I do love that camera angle looking back down the hangar straight to just see 20 Formula 1 cars spanning the width of the track. All in a desperate attempt to get as much heat and the optimal temperature onto those tyres and carcasses ahead of the start of the race. Around onto the grid we go then. As the cars start to line up, those prescribed number of burnouts will be coming out. We'll see that happen in a moment. You see the McLaren slowing down and tyres second. Easing it onto the grid then. As we see the McLaren lining up alongside the Red Bull. Try and find a good camera angle. Here we go then, ready for the start of the race. It's 3, 4, 5 lights. And it's lights out and away we go in Silverstone for PSGL F3. And it's a great start from Ecclemire, already managing to make his way past Morgan Ball as we head down towards turn 1. Morgan Ball having to fend off his teammate now. Jake Finch also having a good start, trying to make his way through as he got past Alvaro on that opening lap. Lundy still just ahead for now. The two Red Bulls almost coming together, heading through the loop section, but still it's Morgan Ball just ahead as Lundy tries to stretch his legs. Ecclemire trying to chase him down, but these two Red Bulls already getting pretty feisty. There's a bit of a move going on in the background as well there as Vahagi loses a position to Leonard down in the teens, and there's a bit of shuffling going on further back as well as we see Bryn has made up some great positions on that opening lap. Already back up by his team in P10. And shuffling going on all up and down the grid, in fact, as everybody tries to get the best start they can. But still it is Carter Lundy leading from Ecclemire, Ball, Finch, Sendel, Alvaro, Cadorningolo, Milan, Marcus Thola and Bryn rounding out the top 10. We have got Shungchan Lim out in the background. And that is down at Copse Corner. Is there damage to that car? Let's have a quick look. It looks like there is a bit of front wing damage to the Williams there. Missing an end plate on that front right, you can see. So was there contact there for Lim coming through Copse? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, Lundy does still lead at the end of lap 1 then. Laminen also looking like he's about to make a move through the Vale chicane. We can't quite see it, but there it is. There's a pass on the outside. Still going for the move then. It's Harlan Marquis trying to go for Laminen at the moment. They're fighting it out all the way through, and it looks like it was contact then with Houseman, who has also come into the pits at the end of lap 1. So aside from that little bit of what seems to be fairly minor contact, everybody keeping pretty well behaved on lap 1 of the race, getting through pretty cleanly as Harlan Marquis dumps some ERS to try and get away from Jorge Albarola on those charging soft tyres, but also trying to battle it out with Laminen, who's nicked that position away, also on the softs at the moment. We have seen a couple of the soft runners falling back a little bit. Laminen has lost positions to Thorle and Bryn, it looks like, in the opening of that race, and Bryn has made a tremendous start from back in 15th on the grid and is now sitting in the points with his teammate. But Carter Lundy still leading as Eckelmeyer breathing down his neck at the moment. The gap fluctuating between 3 and just 1/10, but Lundy is absolutely charging at the moment in the McLaren. Another purple sector for him at this stage of the race should help to keep Eckelmeyer at bay, but for how long? Is Eckelmeyer going to sit there and play the stint out and see what Lundy does when it comes to the pits? Or is he going to make a decisive move and try and pull away as we saw last week? Marquis and Albarola fighting it out, but Eckelmeyer, there we go, fastest lap of the race. He's already on a charge, trying to get past Carter Lundy as DRS does get enabled on this lap then. So we will get that very, very shortly, in fact. We make our way through the loop, just 3/10 as there's a yellow flag in Sector 1. Laminen, we saw him battling a moment ago. Looks like he's had a bit of a spin coming through and what that looks like farm, possibly, and into village. I'm not quite sure if he was helped around there, but Eckelmeyer, blink and you miss it, with the help of the DRS down the Wellington Straight, has taken the lead from Carter Lundy. Carter Lundy now then, what can he do to retaliate? He's led, of course, from pole position, and Eckelmeyer has taken that away from him, but we are coming up very soon to the Hangar Straight. Can Lundy retake the position? Heading down towards Stowe. Time will tell as we make our way through the Maggotts-Beckett's complex. The DRS will be wide open on the McLaren. There it is, right on the rear end of the Aston Martin, then pulls up along the inside. Eckelmeyer not defending it super hard, but will he switch back to the inside? No, they are just going to swap back around for the time being. DRS, of course, very strong down the Hangar Straight, but now all this jostling has brought Morgan Ball into the equation as well. And what was a 2-car fight for the lead could very, very quickly become a 4 or even 5-car fight for the lead as Jake Finch in the other Red Bull sets a fastest lap of the race, quickly taken by Harlan Marquis on the medium tyre. Marquis on an absolute flyer at the moment. But right now, we are keeping our eyes closely glued on these battles at the front. Eckelmeyer chasing down Lundy once again. The 2 Red Bulls just behind, getting very, very close as well. And once more the DRS opens up for Paul Eckelmeyer, almost pushing the McLaren down the straight as we head down towards Brooklands. Up the inside he goes. I thought there may have been a little bit of a look there from Lundy around the outside, but not quite on for the time being. Now, can Eckelmeyer put the taps on at Aston Martin and pull away from Carter Lundy before the second DRS zone? Lundy is glued to the back of that racing green number 34 at the moment as we head into Maggotts and Beckett's. He is going to struggle a little bit with the downforce following another car through here, but I don't think it'll knock him too far back, just 2/10 behind. You can see how close that these two are at the moment. And once again, the DRS open this time for Carter Lundy down this back straight. And once more, he goes to the inside towards Stowe, and the move is done before we even get there. And another swap for the lead as once more Eckelmeyer tries to find a place to either run away with this or just preserve his tyres that little bit. I'm not quite sure what he'll be thinking. There's so many options to weigh up at this point in the race. But right now it does look like they are quite content with just swapping positions through the DRS zone, almost helping each other out around the laps here. With Lundy coming across the line as race leader every single time. Once more, we head out to the Wellington Straight then, and once more, we'll see the DRS on the Aston Martin open up. A spurt of the ERS as well, and once more, I imagine, to the inside, Eckelmeyer goes. This time, Lundy stays ahead, and the Red Bull is very, very close behind. Morgan Ball is sniffing all over the back of this fight at the minute. It is costing them some time, but we could see a more permanent change this time. If Eckelmeyer can keep up with Lundy, can he use the DRS down the Hangar Straight to take the lead into Stowe? Into Maggots Beckets we go once more then. Morgan Ball going to be licking his lips watching this unfold because any slight error and he could take one, maybe even two positions. As Echomeyer coming through. Chapel now onto the hangar straight. The DRS open and you can see how much he's gaining already. Up to the inside, down towards Stowe we go. Thank you very much, Carter. I will have the race lead from you. So Echomeyer this time takes the lead around Stowe. And could that be telling for the remainder of the race? And can Lundy take him back? Or will Lundy want to take the position back down the Wellington Straight in a few corners' time? We don't know just yet, but what we do know is Echomeyer leads at the end of lap 5 then. On to lap 6 we go. Lundy still clinging onto the back of the Aston Martin as we head into the loop. Morgan Ball, Jake Finch, 3rd and 4th. Sindel and Alvaro duking it out for 5th and 6th with Cadorn and Golo, Milan, Marcus Thola and Bryn still rounding out the top 10. This battle for the lead is the one to watch. And is Carter Lundy just that little bit too far back? It looks like he is there. Not close enough to get the move done down into Brooklands. And does Echomeyer have a little bit of breathing room now? Has he pulled out just enough of a gap that Lundy can't quite as easily take back the lead of this race? Because that could be absolutely crucial. We're about 4 to 6 laps away from the pit window. And could this be what Lundy wants? Does he not want to be the one in the lead making the call for the pit lane? There could be an element of strategy to this as well. Time will tell as we head closer towards the pit window. But once again, we're out onto the hangar straight. This time, Carter Lundy's a little bit closer with the DRS not open. Was he too far back? I don't think he was too far back. So Carter Lundy, you have to assume at this point, is choosing to sit behind Paul Echomeyer. In fact, diving into the pits. This is quite the early pit stop for Carter Lundy. Diving into the pits at the end of lap 6. As Cadorn and Golo also comes into the pits and picks up a penalty, as does Alvaro. So, a few drivers coming in very, very early for their pit stops. Of course, you saw from the predicted strategy before the race began, we were looking around lap 10 to 12 for the soft tyre runners coming in, but it's lap 6 for Carter Lundy. So are we seeing an alternate strategy unfold here for the McLaren driver? Obviously, losing the race lead, perhaps that has caused him to try this alternate strategy. Maybe it was the plan all along to hold up Echomeyer as long as he can. And they have, in fact, come out on the medium tyres then. So it is mediums for all of the drivers that have just picked. Carter Lundy comes out down in 15th. As we get yellow flags. That is a Mercedes off at Luffield. Meanwhile, now, Echomeyer, with no threat from Lundy behind, can just ease out the gap. But I say he can ease out the gap. He does have two very, very fast Red Bulls coming up behind him right now with Morgan Ball and Jake Finch. They've been following this lead battle the whole way. Both of them have DRS. Both of them clawing their way closer and closer to the race leader. And now, in fact, Paul Echomeyer coming into the pits as well. So, and he gets a penalty. Echomeyer picks up a 5-second penalty coming into the pits, and that is so, so crucial for the race. And we don't really need to talk now about whether the overcut or the undercut is going to be stronger for the two battling race leaders, as that 5-second penalty pretty much takes Paul Echomeyer out of contention for the race victory at the moment. So Echomeyer picking up a penalty on the way into the pits, couldn't quite slow it down in time. And that must be music to Carter Lundy's ears. Having made that strategy call, now is up to P12. The McLaren driver, saw a little bit of a lock up there coming into the first corner, but not too bad, as now he's chasing after Paul Echomeyer, who has made the pit stop, but with a penalty to his name. That 7/10 gap's not going to be quite enough, and now Carter Lundy, you have to believe, is just going to follow Echomeyer, use his DRS to pull him along. Doesn't need to fight the position all that hard. He just needs to stay within 5 seconds of the Aston Martin to realistically make a difference. As we are about to see a move between the two Red Bulls down the hangar straight. Jake Finch going by Morgan Ball into Stowe with the help of that DRS, as It looked like they both wanted to come into the pits there. Morgan Ball, perhaps a little bit, and another pit lane speeding penalty. And I had to think Morgan Ball looked like his strategy may have been somewhat compromised there, as it looked like he was going to dive into the pits as well, realizing he couldn't realistically do that with his teammate coming in. And now he needs to drive like the wind, because you have to believe he's going to come in on this lap. And where is it going to put him out regarding the other two drivers? Jake Finch still in the pits at the moment. Of course, also with a penalty to his name, as Carter Lundy sets the fastest lap of the race in the McLaren. Chasing down Paul Eckelmeyer right now as Jake Finch comes out behind the two of them. They are absolutely flying on this medium tyre at the moment. Just Morgan Ball left out there on the softs. Though, of course, the cars behind him all the way down to Pienaar started on those mediums, so we'll stay out there for a little while longer. And Lundy there, you can see, getting very, very close to the back of Eckelmeyer, but not really trying the matter just yet. Doesn't need to fight as hard as he perhaps would have done otherwise, thanks to that penalty that Eckelmeyer's got. And now he just needs to keep his nose clean for the rest of the race, and he may be able to take his first victory of the season. Time will tell. Importantly, right now, with the way the penalties would get applied, Eckelmeyer would only lose the one position, but we are yet to see where Morgan Ball comes out. He has come into the pits now as Carter Lundy, once again, DRS open, taking a look into Stowe, and there's the move for the race lead then. Didn't need to try the issue, but has gone ahead with it and gets the move done. So back into the net race lead. It's not the actual race lead, of course, with the drivers ahead still yet to pit. The net race lead back in the hands of Carter Lundy, and Paul Eckelmeyer, what will he do now? 5-second penalty to his name as the second Red Bull now is coming out of the pits as well. Morgan Ball is going to drop behind these two. In fact, drop behind Sendel and Alvaro as well. And Morgan Ball dropping quite far back. Will have to claw his way past a couple more drivers to get back to where he was before, near where his teammate is. And it looked like a move was being sniffed at by Eckelmeyer there, but realizes there's no risk. He's got that Red Bull just behind him. And very, very close just behind him as well. And these two will be battling for track position. They both have the same penalty. Both Eckelmeyer and Finch picking up that 5-second penalty earlier on. This battle on track will end in the order it ends in. No penalties. No other penalties at the moment, so nothing will change the order they're in. Jake Finch, of course, is on the slightly fresher tyres, but only by a lap. And crucially, Eckelmeyer still getting the DRS from Lundy as well. So almost a train opening up, and Eckelmeyer getting very, very close once again to the back of the McLaren, but not quite able to get the move done. As another penalty comes in. Joe Vaghi, in fact, retiring from the race from what was 9th position. The first DNF of the session then, Joe Vaghi calling it quits at this part of the race, but for now, we keep up with this race at the front. Our net race leader, Carter Lundy, leading Eckelmeyer around with Jake Finch behind, and we've got to keep our eyes on Morgan Ball as well. Lost a couple of positions in the pits, possibly due to not being able to pit because of being so close to his teammate, but now Eckelmeyer up the inside down to Luffield with the DRS. Lundy doesn't fight it that hard, but look at Morgan Ball coming flying, Jake Finch, sorry, coming flying at the both of them. Down into Luffield, almost looked like he was going to go for the mother of all dive bombs there, but didn't quite make that decision. But now, once again, the net race lead is Paul Eckelmeyer's. But it's going to take an absolute miracle for him to pull out a large enough lead that the penalty isn't going to matter. But we know he's got the pace. We saw last time out he can pull out a lead if he wants to. But is he going to here as Lundy gets the DRS now? And we're going to swap hands once again down into Stowe. And the Red Bull edges ever closer once more, sniffing around the back of the both of them. Jake Finch could make the steal of the century any lap now, with the way things are going between these two swapping positions. We've seen Red Bulls make dive bombs before out in the real world in the hands of the likes of Daniel Ricciardo. What can Jake Finch do behind the wheel? We've just seen what Morgan Ball can do. He's passed Alvaro and a fastest lap of the race to boot for the second Red Bull. Trying to make his way back to his teammate and tag back into this battle. Of course, pitting a couple of laps later on off the soft tyre. Now making his way back in. This DRS train now making its way down towards Luffield. And that is a dive up the inside. We saw that Jake Finch move very late there up the inside of Eckelmeyer and takes the position away. It looked like he caught him napping a little bit there into Luffield, because it definitely caught me napping at least. As we saw them all getting very close together, and the Red Bull nipping up the inside into Luffield. Thank you very much, Mr. Eckelmeyer. I'll have that position off you. Now, Lundy, Finch and Eckelmeyer is the order, and this order could change any which way, as Christian Sendel is still part of this battle as well, as is Morgan Paul and Alvaro. Long train of cars, all jostling around, and now Jake Finch goes for the race lead on Carter Lundy. So now the net race lead is in the hands of Red Bull, with Jake Finch, of course, also in a similar position to Eckelmeyer at the moment, with a penalty to his name. DRS showing how strong it can be down the hangar straight, with cars just walking past each other down there. And you have to start thinking at that point where you want to be, what lap you want to be, where towards the end of the race, because you don't want to be leading on the last lap of the race, surely, because the person behind you, as long as they're close enough, is just going to steal the win from you around Stowe. Once more onto the DRS straight we go. You can see the flaps opening on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars all the way back, and then closing again into the braking zone. No changes of position this time out though down the Wellington straight. Everybody staying in formation into Brooklands and Luffield. Eckelmeyer currently sitting what will be provisionally third. Of course, you see the alternate strategy runners as well, still yet to pit. Where are they going to come out at the end of their stints on the faster tyres? It could be absolutely crucial. If we had a safety car anywhere around now, it could be incredibly crucial to this race as well. 26 laps, we're halfway through. As we see Harlan Marquez coming into the pits on 12 lap old mediums, but a safety car right about now could be crucial for the alternate strategy, as Angelarius also retires from the race, making it 2 DNFs so far. And that this pack staying ever so close. Lundy still all over the back of Jake Finch for the moment. Promoted a position from the pitted Harlan Marquez. Slowly but surely they'll make their way back towards the front end of the grid when the pit stops start rolling in. And is Lundy going to think about trying to take the race lead back, or is he just going to sit there for the time being, feeling comfortable, knowing that the driver behind and ahead both have 5-second penalties? Doesn't need to press the issue too hard for the moment, does Carter Lundy. He's got the advantage, but now look at that. Christian Sendel looking at the inside of Eckelmeyer as well. Eckelmeyer dropping back a little bit perhaps at the moment in this phase of the race. Not quite able to get those medium tyres to a point that he's comfortable with just yet. And it is bringing that Alpine into play as well. We have yellow flags in Sector 1 from a Ferrari. That's Milan having a moment. In fact, no, tell a lie. That was the retiring Angelarius coming out of the pits. And popping off the track. Right now, onto the hangar straight. DRS open once more for plenty of cars. Is Carter Lundy going to try for the race lead into Stowe? I don't think he was close enough. And does have to stick behind the Red Bull for now. And here he is then, Carter Lundy. The ball currently in his court as we start lap 16 of this. Oh, lap 15, sorry, of this 26 lap race. Pinar coming into the pits from the medium tyres now as well. These 4 of the medium runners out there for the time being. Jake Finch currently the provisional race leader with a penalty to his name. Carter Lundy, Eckelmeyer also with a penalty, currently lying in third with Sidell, Paul, Alvaro, and Cadorningolo and Milan, all part of this track pack. But now up the inside goes Carter Lundy down through Luffield, being fought a little bit. He's going to lose the inside line through Brooklands. Through Luffield, sorry. I got those corners backwards there, but Jake Finch fighting this one. Staying in the race lead, and that's brought Eckelmeyer in. You see, looking like he might move up the inside into Cops. We saw it end in tears in the real world, but Eckelmeyer makes it stick. Now into Maggots and Beckets we go. And Carter Lundy now behind both of these two. Quite the opportunistic move as Houseman DNFs from the race. One McLaren retires and the other McLaren gets mugged through Cops, and now all jostling. And that's 2 positions. Jake Finch is going to lose in the space of a corner there as the DRS helps Lundy pass, but he's going to take it back. Apologies for the dead air there. I needed to breathe. There's so much going on at the moment in this race as the 3 race leaders all jostling for position into Stowe there. It looked like Jake Finch was about to lose 2 positions into one corner, but managed to defend from Carter Lundy again. But Eckelmeyer is back past again and into the provisional race lead. So just Bryn out there on the older mediums at the moment, and now Lundy with the DRS is being blocked off from that outside line down into Brooklands. Not going to be able to get past just here. Into Luffield we go, still sticking, and look at the slide there from Carter Lundy having to pick the car up. And this could be important. If Carter Lundy gets stuck behind Jake Finch here, this could allow Eckelmeyer to run off into the distance. There's time enough left in the race. 10 laps remaining. He'd need to go like the absolute clappers in that Aston Martin, but it is technically possible. But the DRS probably is going to make that very, very difficult. And speaking of which, that flap does open on the back of the McLaren once more, but I don't think he's going to get the move done because Jake Finch also got it, and it just closed him back on to Paul Eckelmeyer again, as we see another retiree from the race, Shungchang Lim. Comes our 4th retiree of the evening. Coming towards the end, 16. And on to lap 17 we go. And this battle is heating up as Bryn finally does decide to call it a day on those medium tyres. Coming in on the softs. These are race leaders in the actual race lead again, as we do see the retiring car. There it is. Just ghosting out of the way. But this race lead, you can see how close this pack of cars is. DRS keeping everybody within touching distance of one another, but it's the top 3 that are the ones that are battling away. Once again, Lundy with the DRS open, looking to try and get by, but can't quite get past the Red Bull for the time being. And is he going to stay there for now? Is he just going to chill out behind Jake Finch for the time being? Is he still, as long as he stays within 5 seconds of Eckelmeyer, on for the race win? And in terms of the championship battle, of course, Eckelmeyer taking the points last time out gave him the championship lead coming in here. But if Lundy can drag Sendell, Ball, Alvaro along with him on the back of this fight, as he is doing at the moment, it could relegate Eckelmeyer and Finch way back down. That'll be 5 seconds. They're going to be looking at the back end of the top 10 the way these cars are grouped up. And that could be crucial later on down the championship with these guys battling away. As now, it looked like a little bit of a move from Sendell there, looking up the inside into the Vale chicane, but thinking better of it this time around. And that Sendell maybe signalling intent there to Lundy a little bit like, hello, I'm here, I'm still going to race you, I don't have a penalty to my name. And is Lundy going to have to react to that at any point as Krysik's now on the fresh soft sets the fastest lap of the race. Still, Jake Finch leads from Eckelmeyer, Lundy, Sendell, Ball, Alvaro, Cadorningolo, Milan, Thor and Marquis are the top 10. And with the DRS opening once more, Jake Finch loses the position to Eckelmeyer. It looked like he was trying to sneak on by there. Couldn't quite get the job done and has to slot back in. Eckelmeyer still leads in the Aston Martin, but for how long? He's not pulling away at all at the moment, so at the time being, it looks like this is Lundy's race to lose. doesn't need to really worry too much about the two cars in front as long as he keeps his nose clean. Through Maggots and Beckett's we go then. You can see the DRS signal coming up. Just needs to go, and there we go. The flap opens up. We get yellow flags. That is Leonard having a off in the second Aston Martin. And now side by side as Finch and Lundy both lunge past Eckelmeyer into Stowe. Finch retaking the lead. Lundy retaking second position. And it's all changed once more at the top. With 8 laps to go here at Silverstone. Jake Finch leads from Lundy and Eckelmeyer this time. And Sindel still just watching all this unfold behind as Bryn goes fastest down in P10. And that Eckelmeyer almost taking a look into the loop section of the track there. Looked up the inside of Village. And he's getting very, very close to the back of Carter Lundy as we head down onto the Wellington Straight once more. Then the DRS flaps opening up again and again. And we're seeing moves made by these DRS flaps again and again. So strong is the DRS around here. It's causing us to see so many overtakes this evening. And swaps for the lead. This battle is going to go on to the very, very end. Right now, Finch is the one out front. And not necessarily the place you want to be at the moment, because out front, of course, you don't get the DRS that the 6 or 7 cars behind are going to have. And is Lundy close enough to get a move done this time? It's Eckelmeyer close enough to get a move done this time. Towards Stowe we go. Up the inside goes Lundy. Around the outside goes Eckelmeyer, but I don't think he was quite able to get that move done. But they're still fighting, the McLaren and the Red Bull, side by side. Down the hill we go towards Vale, but Lundy's got the inside. Can Finch do anything about it? I don't think he can. He slots back in behind, and Lundy retakes the lead of the race. Eckelmeyer still selling for third then as Morgan Ball makes a move and gets past Alvaro. Still needs to find his way past Sendel to join this, and that's contact between the three of them, and that's Eckelmeyer. Looked like he was going around there, and he loses a handful of positions just up the inside of Jake Finch. The two battling away. They've been battling for so long. That little bit of contact on the inside there just put Eckelmeyer's car into a half spin, and he's lost so many positions now. He's going to have to fight all the way back side by side as Sindel gets a penalty for multiple warnings, and now Eckelmeyer has to go on the offensive to try and clear as many cars as possible. And Lundy now only has to worry about one car trying to steal the race lead away from him, and that is the Red Bull behind of Jake Finch, but he's got the penalty. There is now a little gap where Eckelmeyer once was, and through Maggots and Beckett's you can see how close Jake Finch is getting to the back of Carter Lundy right now. Will he try and move down into Stowe once more? And what can Eckelmeyer do now? DRS flap opening as Jake Finch moves to the inside down towards Stowe. Then you can see Eckelmeyer in the background dealing with a battle up ahead of him. Can't get a move done, crucially, at the moment. And has to sit behind Sindel. But Sindel looked like he was looking at a move on the inside of Milan again there. And Milan currently bottlenecking the two of them, at least for the time being, as Morgan Bull, I think Sindel might have been involved in that incident with Eckelmeyer as well, because Morgan Bull, now up to P3, brought himself right back into contentions at this stage of the race. Just 5 laps to go, of course, and it looked like a little bit of oversteer there for Jake Finch. As the DRS opens and Carter Lundy once more makes that move we're seeing so often. Down into Brooklands, up the inside, and then covers off the inside, and that's looked like the Red Bull pushing the McLaren along there. Jake Finch urging Carter Lundy to go faster. But Carter Lundy once more regains the lead of the race. And I feel like this would be one of those races where if you had a pound for every time I said regains the... Oh, big wobble there for Jake Finch. Very well held by Jake Finch there. A bit of a wobble coming through cops and having to take to the escape road on the outside. That could have ended so badly for the Red Bull. Keeps it on the tarmac for now, and now he's got the race lead back once more. And as I was saying, if this was a race where you had a pound for every time I said regains the race lead, you'd be rich people at the end of this race, as feels like most of the top 5 have at least led the race for one part or another. As Eckelmeyer comes into the pits in what is now P11. Does he have damage at the moment? I can't quite tell from this onboard camera angle if he does. Whether he's been involved in any other little accidents or anything around the track, but hits, and that's going to drop him totally out of points with 4 laps to go. Right to the back goes Eckelmeyer then. He's going to have a fresh set of softs, but time is running out for the Aston Martin driver. You can see the gap between him and the rest of the field as Finch still leads. Bryn is on an absolute charge in the AlphaTauri on the alternate strategy, on the soft tyres. He's on a tear. We saw him just set the fastest lap of the race in that number 88 car. Now he's setting off after Milan. He's disposed of Sendell already. As Eckelmeyer picks up another penalty, the championship leader, it's all going wrong for him here at Silverstone, it would seem. 8 seconds of penalties to claim at the time being. Bryn. What can Bryn do? 4 laps to go. Leader of the alternate strategy runners at the moment as we head through Maggots and Beckett's on board the AlphaTauri. You can see the Ferrari of Milan up ahead. And he's got the pace in him. He could be challenging towards that top 4 or 3 towards the end of this race on that softer tyre. You can see there they are, just up the road. Not that far ahead at all. He just needs to get onto the back of the Ferrari here and he could really, really make an impact on this race. For now, it looks like Jake Finch has managed to pull away a little bit, but there's another fastest lap from Bryn, 1:27.7, absolutely charging out there in the AlphaTauri. Is last season's F4 champion, really making his mark here at Silverstone after what was a seemingly somewhat disappointing outing in Portimao. Now look at that DRS train of cars down towards Brooklands. There's so many of them. And Bryn edging ever closer to Milan now. The DRS straight of the hangar straight coming up. Will Bryn get the move done? Will he move up to P6 in this race? And as Carter Lundy now will take another look back at what's going on out front. Carter Lundy, you see in a Red Bull sandwich at the moment. Jake Finch still leads. The gap's starting to settle a little bit there as Bryn all over the back of Milan through Maggots and Beckett. You can see the gap was less than a tenth at one point there. He's climbing in that Ferrari gearbox and now with the DRS, surely he's going to get the move done. Dives to the inside down the hangar straight before we even get to Stowe. The move is done and Bryn makes the move up to P6 then. And the charge continues with Cadorningolo in the Mercedes, the next target. Look at how quickly he's closing in already on the Mercedes driver. So now we head once more. We got yellow flags out. As is that Leonard or is that Eckelmeyer having a moment? It might be Eckelmeyer, in fact, having a moment. It was indeed Eckelmeyer. Really not having a good day here. Losing out another bit of time. We head back to this battle. Heading on now. Bryn right on the back of Cadorningolo now then. Wasn't quite close enough there as Eckelmeyer comes into the pits and retires from the race. The championship leader is out of round 2. And it's going to be all change at the top with Lundy still looking like he's on for the race win. Bringing the gap down at the moment to Finch as well. But he's got Morgan Ball also bringing the gap down. This could be crucial down the hangar straight because Ball doesn't have a penalty. You can see how close he is to Lundy. These two will be battling out on track. They're both going to have DRS down the hangar straight towards Stowe. And who's going to come out on top here? It could be any one of these three as Lundy goes to the outside. Ball to the inside, dives back across. Can't quite. Almost got squeezed by his teammate. And Lundy retakes the lead on track. And I wonder if there'll be some teammates swapping over here with Ball getting past Finch. Both, of course, driving for Red Bull. But with Finch having a penalty, it would be in the team's best interest for Ball to get by. As we saw how close that got between the lead 3. And what can they do? Bryn, in all of the chaos there, did manage to make his way up to P6. In fact, no, he was P6 before, so he's still chasing after Cadorningolo. But now, DRS going to be open for another short spurt. And will Jake Finch let Morgan Ball through? Not for the moment. They are just going to keep hounding Carter-Lundy out front then. Running nose to tail round the field once more. And this could be anyone's race still as we head around on the penultimate lap. I just don't know who's going to win at the moment. Carter-Lundy is currently out front. Of course, on the final lap of the race, is that where you want to be? Your rivals will have DRS. He could lose 1-2 positions if he's unlucky around the final tour of the circuit with the DRS. Taking a look now, Jake Finch dives up the inside into Stowe. Is Morgan Ball going to make the move? No, but he is going to be right on the back of Carter-Lundy now. That could be really, really important for Red Bull. Now, you see, looked like he was looking around the outside there, Morgan Ball, and Alvaro's coming into this as well as Bryn and Kudon and Golo go side by side into the Vale chicane as well, with Bryn coming out of that one on top. Onto the final lap of the race we go then. Morgan Ball all over the back of Carter-Lundy. Carter-Lundy hasn't set a foot wrong so far in this race. The ball has absolutely been his court, but now the ball is behind him in Morgan Ball, trying to take the race victory away from the McLaren driver with a little bit of help from his teammate as well. DRS coming up for the Red Bull as we head on to the Wellington Straight for the final time. Who's going to come out ahead as we head down towards Brooklands? We've seen so many position changes here, and one here could be crucial, but there isn't any crucially this time. They stay in formation. Finch at the lead with the penalty with Carter-Lundy P2. Morgan Ball right on his tail in P3 with just the hanger straight to go for overtaking. Who wins this race? Morgan Ball is going to be trying everything he can, but of course, Carter-Lundy's going to have the DRS down the hanger straight from Jake Finch. And that could save Carter-Lundy and keep the race victory in his hands. Onto the hanger straight we go then, blasting through Chapel for one final time. Who's going to come out on top down through Stowe? I don't think Ball's close enough. I don't think he's close enough. Lundy dives to the inside of Finch into Stowe, but Ball isn't close enough. He's going to have to settle for P2. Carter-Lundy moves past the Red Bull on the final lap of the race. Just a few corners to go for the McLaren driver. We've seen so many position changes, but it's Carter-Lundy who's kept his nose clean, and it's Carter-Lundy who wins in Silverstone. Morgan Ball takes P2, Alvaro promoted to the podium, thanks to the penalty for Jake Finch that dropped him all the way down to P10. And I need to catch my breath because what a fantastic race. Silverstone does not ever disappoint, and tonight was not an exception to that. Carter-Lundy taking the race victory, but it looked like it may be in a bit of jeopardy with Morgan Ball, who has finished just behind him on the podium. And it will be changed at the top. Carter-Lundy will go to the top of the standings after this one, with Eckelmeyer having to DNF. Not the race he would have wanted. Came into this with a pole position and a race victory last time out. Has to settle for a DNF at Silverstone. Can Eckelmeyer bring it back though next time out? We'll have to wait and see. But for now, your race winner in Silverstone, Carter-Lundy in the McLaren. 26 laps, of course, around Silverstone. He's kept his nerve together. He kept it clean and came out ahead. There we go. Absolutely textbook stuff from Carter-Lundy to take the win here in Silverstone. And driver of the day, Bryn. We did briefly touch upon Bryn making the alternate strategy call earlier on in the race. And it did work out. He's secured himself a nice haul of points. See Carter-Lundy celebrating on the top step of the podium for the first time this season. He was denied somewhat cruelly by a late safety car last time out. Takes redemption this time. Carter-Lundy wins in Great Britain. Confirmation of your race results there then. Carter-Lundy does indeed win the race here. There's Morgan Ball in P2 and Alvaro in the Williams rounding out the podium with Bryn on that alternate strategy all the way up to 4th position by the end of the race, just ahead of his teammate. A great haul of points for AlphaTauri this evening with 4th and 5th. Milan finishes P6 just ahead of Kudon and Golo with Krysik, Sandell and Finch rounding out the top 10 with that penalty, of course. Pinar and Harlan Marquez finish 11th and 12th, Laminin 13th, Jorge Almirola and Leonard round up the top 15, and indeed the finishers with Paul Eckelmeyer, Soon-Chan Lim, Christian Hausmann, Angel, and Jeva Hagi not finishing the race. And well, what an incredible race we've seen this evening here at the PSGL. Sorry. I will now head over to interviews, and we will get some words from our race finishers. As I try and type and talk at the same time, it's never going to really work. But what a tremendous race we have had. Try and grab our race winner in a short moment. We will flick over to the screen there. As Lundy coming in. Here he is then, our race winner, Carter Lundy. Congratulations, a textbook race for you around Silverstone. Saw a lot of jostling, but you kept it clean and come away with a race win.
Well, a bit nervous right now, or shaking. That was a great race.
It was indeed. We saw so many position changes for the lead. Was there ever a point in that race you thought, I'm going to win this, or was it constantly, I don't know, this could be anyone's race still?
Yeah, well, up until Paul spun, it was me, Paul, and Jake switching around. And I knew Jake and Paul had 5-second penalties from speeding. So I knew I could just use them as a buffer. If I stayed in front of them, the guys without penalties wouldn't get past. But then Paul spun or something, and then it got a bit more difficult. I was like, no, Morgan's going to get me. I know Morgan has really good race pace. But from lap 20, it was me and the Red Bulls in the top 3, Morgan, Jake, and I. And I had a plan. And for the last lap from lap 20, I knew what I had to do. It had to be Jake, me, and then Morgan, and I had to get DRS down to Stowe. And yeah, it worked out perfectly.
It did indeed. Your first race win of the season after the late safety car sort of threw a spanner in the works last time out in Portimao. So it must feel good to get some redemption this time and take a victory around Silverstone.
Yeah, it does. I mean, my first win in PSGL as well. So I'm pretty happy right now. But yeah, I just gotta celebrate for a day and then head down for next week.
Yep, absolutely. Well, congratulations on the race win, Carter, and enjoy this win. I'm sure, based off what we've seen so far this season, you're in more the way it's going.
I certainly hope so.
Well, congratulations once again then, and I will let you get off and enjoy your race victory as we another driver interview.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I believe we did have Morgan Ball as well, hanging around in the Discord somewhere. I'll try and find him. And we will try and get an interview from our P2 finisher as well. He was hanging around. I don't know where he's gone. He was here. He now does not appear to be here. But we heard from the man himself, Carter, there. What a race it was. And Carter Lundy coming in with the plan. And putting that plan into perfect action in the final phase of that race. Managing to put all the cars in the right places. It's hard to believe that somebody could think that far ahead in the race with everything that was going on, managing to keep a cool head, plan when you're going to use the DRS, what order you need your rivals to be in on the final lap. That takes a tremendous amount of mental capacity, and a truly deserving win for Carter Lundy, trying to still track down our P2 finisher Morgan Ball for an interview. It doesn't look like I can see him at the moment, so it looks like for now, that will be all we have interview-wise. But that was round 2 at Silverstone. What a tremendous race it was. If we just flick back over to remind ourselves of the next race very shortly, of what the next race in the calendar is going to be. As we've had an incredible evening out in Silverstone. A track that never disappoints. Once again, still not disappointing. And what do you know? Look at the track that's next. If we thought that this race was exciting, don't miss next week. we're heading to the streets of the Principality for round 3. So make sure not to miss it. Make sure to subscribe, of course, to the channel to not miss any of the live streams. I believe the PCF2 is kicking off, either already just kicked off or will be kicking off very, very shortly. So make sure to go give them some love as well to watch even more great action from Silverstone. But for the final time this evening, my name is Paul Zytrix Buckley. Thank you all for joining me here for round 2 at Silverstone. A much smoother round, by all accounts, this time out. And I will see you all next week for Monaco.